Hi, welcome to Estate Planning Blueprint, where we give advice for lawyers, financial advisors, and other people interested in estate planning about best practices in estate planning. And today, talking about do it yourself estate plans. I was inspired to do this topic by the latest issue of Consumer Reports. Important news about wills, it says. And when I read the article, it didn't seem particularly new what they were talking about. And the advice they ended up giving was you only need to work with a lawyer for estate planning if you have a federally taxable estate, so an estate over $12 million, or you have some complicated family dynamics like a blended family, something like that. So I think that's lousy advice. I think that there are a lot of people that have way less than $12 million that can get a lot of value out of working with a lawyer. And as much as I respect Consumer Reports, I think they really missed the boat on this. I think they really gave bad advice to their readers because in a lot of situations they give advice about getting the best value, and they just didn't in this case. So I'm going to talk to you about advice I would give to people about do-it-yourself estate plans. So this is a live stream, obviously, and what I'm going to do is to create another video within this that I'll post on YouTube, and it'll be just about that topic of are do-it-yourself estate plans a good idea. But this will give y'all, the lawyers and financial advisors out there, some talking points to talk to your clients about and give you some idea about how to talk to them about this issue and about how to get good value out of your estate plan, and also just to adjust your own mindset about estate planning and the value that lawyers bring to it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll get to those when I can. And as always, thanks for watching. So here's the advice that I would give to people about do-it-yourself estate plans. Is it a good idea to write your own estate plan? Well, in my opinion, no. So in this video, I'm going to explain why that is. I'm going to tell you some situations in which I think it might be okay to do your own estate plan. And then I'm going to tell you my advice about how to get a really good estate plan working with a lawyer, and one that you would be really happy with and think you got really good value out of your estate plan. So let me start with the question about why you would want to work with a lawyer to do your own estate plan rather than do it yourself. So in the first case, let me start here. Let's say I'll compare it to financial planning. So if you went to see a financial planner and the financial planner said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to just have you write down all your budget categories and then decide how much you're going to spend on each budget category. You'd probably get another financial planner, right? That's pretty basic. And what you probably really wanted from your financial planner was some advice about, tell me how I can save money on my taxes. Tell me how I can grow the money that I have. Tell me how I can prepare for my retirement, and give me some ideas that it wouldn't have occurred to me, because presumably the financial planner knows a lot more about it than you do. All right, so I want to encourage you to think about estate planning in the same way. Don't think about a will as just a device that's going to say who gets your estate and how much. Don't think of a power of attorney, for example, as just a bunch of boilerplate language that everybody has to have, and somebody just has to put it into the right format and have you sign it. Don't think about estate planning in that narrow way, because you're really missing the boat. What you really want to get from estate planning is for somebody to tell you things like, how can you save capital gains taxes for your estate and for your heirs? How can you save on income taxes if you have a lot of retirement accounts, traditional retirement accounts, and you're leaving them to your heirs? Are there different ways to save income taxes for you and your heirs? How can you have more of an estate when you die? How do you not have it get depleted by things like nursing home spend down, or judgments against you and scam artists, things like that? How can you protect against undue influence? And then once you're gone and you leave your estate to somebody else, it's not the end of the question there, because there are questions about, is somebody disabled? Might need a special needs trust. Is somebody not able to handle large sums of money? Okay, there's some strategies to deal with that. Even if they are able to handle large sums of money that you're leaving them, what if they get divorced or they get sued or they end up in a nursing home someday? A lot of different strategies that we can use to come up with with an estate plan that's going to protect you during your lifetime, your spouse if something happens to you, your children if you have minor children. You want to have a seamless plan so that they don't end up in foster care. So you named a standby guardian, so that you've named somebody to be their permanent guardian and their trustee for their assets during their lifetimes. Whatever your situation in life is, there are a lot of things that an estate planning attorney can help you to plan for that wouldn't have occurred to you, right? So that's the big thing that you miss out on if you're going with a do-it-yourself estate plan, something that you're going to put together off the internet, is the ability for somebody to work with you and come up with all of these issues that you didn't know you even needed to address. There are many times that people come in and I'm educating them about all the different things that they have to be on the lookout for. And they're really happy that somebody pointed them out and feel like they got great value out of it. So that's the first reason. Another reason is if you do your own estate plan, there's a lot of mistakes that can happen. Not just mistakes in missing out on opportunities like I was talking about, but also mistakes in execution. And I've seen cases on this, and I've seen it numerous times in my practice. So, for example, one of the most famous cases in Pennsylvania has to do with where you would sign a will. So the rule in Pennsylvania is you have to sign a will at the end, and that's strictly enforced. So there was a Supreme Court case in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court that addressed this issue of somebody signing in the wrong place. And in that case, somebody had signed the will right after it says I. It says I, and then there's a blank for you to write your name in, and then place for you to sign at the end. So this gentleman had signed it after the word I so-and-so, and he signed his name there. Perfectly logical place to sign it, but it was the wrong place in order to have a valid will. So instead of leaving half of his estate to his longtime lady friend, that half of the estate didn't go to her at all. It all went to his daughter by intestacy, the rules that apply if you don't have a will. So by making a mistake and signing it in the wrong place, the whole will was valid. I once saw a power of attorney that somebody had prepared on one of these online services, and the power of attorney appointed an agent, and then he didn't realize that he had to initial all of the powers that he was to give the person in the power of attorney. So he had an agent with no power. All right, so things like that. It's easy to make mistakes in executing wills and powers of attorney. And if you make a mistake, it might invalidate the whole thing. So you want to work with a professional for that reason too. Now, when do I think it might be permissible or advisable to do your own estate plan? Well, I can think of some situations like time. If you were on your deathbed, literally in the intensive care unit in the hospital, and the doctor told you might have a day to live, and there just wasn't enough time to get somebody in to write your estate plan and get it all drafted into you and signed and everything, then I could see where, if you were in a situation where you had no will and you wanted to leave everything to your longtime partner who you weren't married to, and if you didn't do that, it would pass to a daughter that you were estranged from, you would definitely want to try to have a will. All right, so you could in most jurisdictions write something up and sign it. That's called a holographic will. So if that was permitted in your jurisdiction, you could do something. But still, even in that situation, you'd want to at least get some advice so that you take care of those little details like signing it at the end if that's required in your jurisdiction. Also, physical constraints. There might be a situation like the COVID situation that just ended. We had a lockdown a couple of years ago where no one was permitted into nursing homes because of the COVID restrictions. So in that situation, you would not have the same opportunity to go to somebody's office and have your estate planning done and drafted and executed there. But still, even if you had a limitation like that, I would still get good advice on, how to do that so that you could at least execute something properly. Another situation might be if you had absolutely no assets, no children. Maybe you're right out of college, it's your first job, all you have is student debt. But still, you want to name somebody so that, let's say, your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whoever it might be, you would name them as your agent under power of attorney in case something happened to you. Or in your healthcare directives, you want to name that person so that if you're in the hospital, that person would be authorized to speak to the medical personnel. So there are a few situations where I think a do-it-yourself estate plan might be advisable. But I think in most situations where you have, some assets, something that you care about, some people you care about in your life, you want to get a good advice on that. So here's my advice on how to work with a lawyer to develop a good estate plan. So first of all, pick somebody that's got experience in this area, and preferably somebody that concentrates in the area. In doing elder law and estate planning in Pennsylvania, I've seen a lot of even documents prepared by lawyers that miss issues, particularly in things like powers of attorney, because they don't concentrate in this area. They just do it as a sidelight of all the other practice areas that they have. So my best advice on that is if you really want to get value out of your estate plan, work with somebody that concentrates in the area and perhaps has some credentials like certified elder law attorney or some sort of board certification that's allowed in your jurisdiction, or belongs to an organization that requires some sort of level of expertise in order to join that. Then when you've found that person, you want to make sure that you do your homework. Typically, if you're going to work with somebody who concentrates in this area, they're going to want you to tell them about what your assets are, how things are titled, fill out a questionnaire. Make sure you do that thoroughly. Whatever information is asked for, be very thorough about what you're disclosing. Put together a list. You might not even know what all of your assets are and how they're titled and what your beneficiary designations are. So it's good to check on all that. Get all that information before you go in for the appointment so you can be really thorough about saying this is how my situation in life is set up currently. So you can get some really good advice about how to handle each of those things. Next, I think that you would want to educate yourself about estate planning so that the issues that I've been talking about, things like powers of attorney, things like what could happen to you during your lifetime, long-term care issues, what could happen after I'm gone, should I try to create a trust for my beneficiaries, something like that. If you can educate yourself about these issues when you go into the appointment, then you can have a better idea of whether all of these issues are being addressed in your appointment, and make sure that your plan is going to contain all of the right ingredients to give you an estate plan that's really going to be tailored to your situation. And then when you get your estate plan, don't just put it on a shelf and leave it there. Think of it as something that you're going to have to do some upkeep on. So review it every so often. If things change, if your assets change remarkably, or your situation changes, you have deaths in the family, marriages, births, things like that, have it reviewed every so often. And I think what you want to do is, in order to get the best value, to think of going to your estate planning lawyer as somebody that you're going to form a relationship with. And that person will help you and your family over the years as the changes occur and different things come up in your life. We can make changes and tweaks to your estate plan and make sure that it's going to work for you in the long term, no matter what happens. So that's how I think is the best way to get a value in your estate planning. It's not doing it yourself, it's getting the best advice. If this has been helpful to you, if you've gotten value out of that, please like this video, and you can subscribe to this channel. That helps us to reach more people and get these messages out. And if you're watching this on the live stream, if you have any questions, you can put them into the chat, and I'll be happy to take any questions you have. There's always a little bit of a delay there when we're doing the live stream. After people put in a question, it takes a couple minutes sometimes for me to see that. We're broadcasting today on YouTube, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So if you're watching on any of those social media sites, thanks for joining us. It's great to have everyone here. It seems like we've just been doing this maybe a little over a month. So in that time period, I've been really gratified by the way it's growing. And we get more and more likes and more subscribers each week. So I really appreciate your attention with that. So let me just check the chat. Doesn't look like we have any questions so far. Once the video has been posted to YouTube, you can also put questions there too. So I do get a chance to see those comments and respond to questions and comments on there as well. Okay, so that's the live stream. We've been doing these on Tuesdays. I hope you've enjoyed the topics. If you have any suggestions for topics in the future, that's another thing that you can you either put in the chat or to go on YouTube. It's the channel Estate Planning Blueprint on YouTube, and put a comment in there to comment to one of the videos about future topics that you might like to hear about. So I really appreciate everyone who's been watching these live streams. Looks like we don't have any further comments today, so I'm going to close at this point. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you here next time.